Part 1. Found out my wife was cheating on me with my brother, and now they're engaged. Throwaway because my main account has family on it, and I'm not ready for them to connect the dots. This might be long, but I need to get it off my chest. Please bear with me. You know those moments when your life splits into before and after? Like when you hear news so wild, so gut-punchingly surreal, you know that nothing will ever be the same again? That's what happened to me a little over a month ago. And the kicker is, I didn't just lose a wife. I lost a brother too. I guess I should rewind a bit. Setting the scene. I'm 33M. I'd been married to my wife, Emma, 32F, for almost 7 years. We met in college, bonded over terrible instant ramen and late-night walks back to the dorms. She had this dry sense of humor that always cut through my anxiety. Honestly, I thought she was my person, my safe place. We did the whole adulting progression, got engaged right after graduation, scraped together enough for a starter house, adopted a rescue dog named Biscuit, the dumbest, happiest golden retriever you've ever seen. It wasn't perfect, but it felt stable. You know? Like the kind of boring stability that's supposed to be the payoff for growing up. Then, there's my brother, Mark, 30M. Younger by 3 years. Charismatic in that everyone wants to be around him way. He's the guy who can walk into a room of strangers and leave with 3 new best friends. Growing up, I was the quiet, cautious one. He was the golden child. Not that I resented him, I actually admired how fearless he was. Emma always got along with him, but I never thought much of it. She was friendly with my whole family. Mark had girlfriends on and off, but nothing that ever stuck. Or so I thought. The cracks in the glass. If I'm being honest, I started noticing something felt off about a year ago. It wasn't one thing. It was little things. The kind of stuff you almost gaslight yourself into ignoring. Emma started working late, more often, except she doesn't really have the kind of job that demands late nights. When I'd ask her what she was doing, she'd get vague, like, "Oh, just paperwork." You wouldn't get it. Our intimacy dropped too. At first, I chalked it up to stress, or the natural ebb and flow of a long marriage. But every time I'd reach for her, she'd pull away, not unkindly, but in this automatic way. Like muscle memory. One night, I remember asking her, "Are we okay?" And she smiled, kissed me on the forehead, and said, "Of course we are, dummy." And I believed her. Because why wouldn't I? Fast forward a couple months, and I started noticing how often she texted. Constantly, with that little smirk people get when they're being entertained. I'd tease her. "Who's got you grinning like that?" And she'd say, "Just a meme from Sarah," her work friend. I didn't push. Because that's what trust is, right? Not snooping, not assuming the worst. I thought being a good husband meant giving her space. God, I feel like such an idiot now. The actual discovery wasn't cinematic. No lipstick on the collar. No dramatic confession. Just an ordinary Tuesday that detonated my life. Emma had left her phone on the kitchen counter while she showered. Normally, I wouldn't touch it. But I needed to look up something for dinner. We share a grocery app, so I picked it up. That's when I saw a notification pop up. From Mark. Message preview. "Can't stop thinking about last night. When can I see you again?" I swear, my blood went cold. I opened the thread before I could even think. And there it was. Weeks, no months, of messages. Flirty texts, inside jokes, full-on sexting. Photos I can't unsee. Plans about sneaking around. References to me, "For God's sake. Emma. He's still at work. Come over now," smirking face. Mark. "You're wicked. I love it." I had to sit down on the floor because my legs literally gave out. My wife. My brother. Not just once, but repeatedly. Behind my back. In my house. The confrontation. I didn't confront her right away. I wish I could say I did, but I was paralyzed. I just functioned like a robot for 2 days, going through the motions while my brain screamed at me. Finally, on Thursday night I cracked. She was folding laundry in the bedroom, humming to herself like nothing was wrong. And I just blurted, "Me, how long have you been sleeping with Mark?" Emma drops the shirt she's holding, goes pale. "What?" "Me. Don't play dumb. I saw the texts." She froze for a solid 30 seconds, then sat down on the bed. And the first words out of her mouth? "I didn't mean for you to find out like this." Not denial. Not an apology. Just that. I don't even remember everything I said after. It was like white noise. "I know," I asked. "Why him?" And she said something about how she and Mark just clicked, and how it wasn't supposed to happen, but felt right. I asked her if she loved him, and she didn't answer. That silence was louder than anything. Fallout. I packed a bag that night and crashed at my friend Dave's place. Biscuit came with me, because there was no way I was leaving my dog in that house of lies. The next day, I got a text from Mark. "No. Sorry. No. Let's talk. Just, you aren't making her happy. I can." I wanted to break my phone in half. Since then, it's been a blur of legal paperwork. I filed for divorce immediately, awkward family dynamics, my parents are devastated, and nights staring at the ceiling wondering how my own brother could do this to me. But here's the final twist of the knife. Last week, I got a call from my mom. She was sobbing. Apparently Mark and Emma are engaged. He proposed to my wife, who isn't even officially divorced from me yet. And my family? They're split down the middle. Some think I should cut them both off forever. Some think I need to be the bigger person, because love is love, and life is messy. I don't even know what to think anymore. That's where I'm at right now. Sitting in a half-empty apartment, surrounded by moving boxes, trying to piece together who the hell I even am after all this. Do I cut both of them out of my life forever? Do I show up at the wedding, if it happens, just to watch the train wreck? Do I try to forgive? I don't have answers. All I know is the two people I trusted most teamed up to burn my life down. And somehow, the world keeps turning like nothing happened. TLDR, found out my wife was cheating on me with my brother. Filed for divorce. They're now engaged, and my family's split about it. I don't know how to move forward. Part 2. Alright, buckle up, because apparently my life decided to take the scenic route through a soap opera written by someone who thinks betrayal is a personality trait. I left off last time after finding out that my wife of 7 years was cheating on me with my younger brother. Let's call him Jake, because typing, backstabbing gremlin, every time would get old fast. And then, just to make sure I fully grasped the depths of my humiliation, they went ahead and announced they were engaged. Yes, engaged. While I was still in the staring at the wall wondering if I should sleep on the floor or burn the bed phase. The days after that revelation felt like I was living inside a glitchy video game. My brain couldn't compute what was happening. I'd wake up, see her toothbrush still by the sink, and for a split second I'd think everything was normal. Then, bam, it would hit me all over again. "Oh right, she's leaving you for your brother. Coffee?" I tried avoiding my family altogether, but apparently that wasn't an option. My mom, bless her perpetually conflicted heart, kept calling me with her mediator voice. You know the one. Soft, gentle, like she's trying to talk a cat out of a tree. She'd say things like, "Sweetie, I know this is hard, but your brother really loves her." And I'd have to physically hold the phone away from my ear so I didn't scream something that would make Jesus file a noise complaint. My father, on the other hand, is a man of very few words. His contribution to the whole saga was a gruff, "That's unfortunate," followed by dead silence, like he just commented on a sports injury. "Thanks, Dad. Very helpful." But the real circus started when my friends found out. I didn't even plan to tell them. I was embarrassed, honestly. Who wants to admit they got played by both their spouse and their sibling? But word spreads faster than wildfire in our small circle, especially when you've got one buddy who thinks gossip is a competitive sport. Within a week, everyone knew. The reactions ranged from shocked gasps to furious rants about how they'd happily egg Jake's house. And by house, I mean the dingy apartment he's barely keeping together. One friend even suggested we start a group chat dedicated solely to roasting him. I didn't say yes, but I didn't say no either. The worst moment, though? When I actually saw them together for the first time after the engagement news. It was at a family dinner, because apparently my mom thought breaking bread would fix the fact that my brother was now fiancé to my wife. I showed up out of guilt and curiosity, and immediately regretted it. There they were, sitting side by side like some cursed Hallmark couple, her hand on his, both of them wearing matching smug smiles. I swear to God, my appetite evaporated faster than my dignity. My mom tried to keep things light by talking about wedding plans, and I almost choked on my water when she asked me if I'd be comfortable attending. Attending? As in, would you like to come watch your wife marry your brother? Sure, Mom. Should I also be the ring bearer while we're at it? I didn't answer. I just excused myself, walked out, and sat in my car for an hour staring at the steering wheel. My phone buzzed nonstop with texts from my mom, from her, even from Jake. His message said, and I quote, "Hey man, I know this is tough, but I hope one day you'll be happy for us." I laughed so hard I nearly cracked a rib. Happy for them. That's like asking someone to be happy about stepping barefoot on a Lego. Now, here's where things get messy. Because while my ex-wife, yep, she's officially ex now, we signed papers faster than I could say, divorce lawyer, and Jake were parading around like they just won some twisted lottery, I was quietly unraveling. I'd lie awake at night replaying every conversation we'd ever had, trying to figure out when it started, how I missed the signs, why I wasn't enough. The spiral was real. But here's the thing. Rock bottom has a weird way of giving you tunnel vision. I started pouring all that anger, confusion, and heartbreak into something else. I hit the gym. I reconnected with hobbies I'd abandoned. I started journaling, which sounds corny but actually kept me from texting things I'd regret. Like, "Hope your wedding cake tastes like betrayal." And people noticed. My friends kept telling me I looked healthier. One even joked, "Dude, heartbreak abs are real." Which, I'm not gonna lie, felt kinda good. It was like I was slowly, stubbornly clawing back pieces of myself they'd stolen. Then came the curveball. About 2 months into my self-imposed "do not engage with demons" policy, my ex reached out. She wanted to talk. Against my better judgment, and because I'm a masochist apparently, I agreed to meet her at a coffee shop. I braced myself for an apology, maybe even some tears. Instead, she launched into this speech about how she hoped we could still be friends, because I was such an important part of her life. Friends. Friends. With the woman who detonated my marriage and hopped into bed with my brother? I swear the barista stopped mid-pour because he could feel the absurdity radiating off our table. I asked her one question. "When did it start?" She hesitated, looked away, and then admitted it had been going on for over a year before I found out. A year. That hit me like a truck. All the birthdays, anniversaries, lazy Sundays watching movies. She'd been splitting her time between me and him like it was some deranged calendar invite. I walked out before she could finish her latte. Haven't spoken to her since. But don't worry, it gets better worse. Because last week, I got an actual wedding invitation. Yep. A printed, embossed, "We're so happy together" card mailed straight to my door. I stared at it for a good 5 minutes, half expecting it to burst into flames. The kicker? They want me to be there as family. My mother even called to say she thought it would be healing. Healing. As if sitting in a pew watching them exchange vows is some kind of spa treatment for the soul. So now I'm stuck with a choice. Do I go, sit there like a mannequin, and silently give them the satisfaction of my presence? Or do I skip it, knowing it'll probably cause a full-blown family war? Part of me wants to go just to stand up when the officiant asks if anyone objects. Another part of me wants to disappear to a beach somewhere and send them a postcard that just says, LOL. Anyway, that's where I'm at. My ex-wife and my brother are about to tie the knot. My family is acting like this is just a quirky rom-com twist. And me? I'm torn between wanting closure and wanting popcorn to watch it all implode. Because let's be honest, if they built their relationship on betrayal, what are the odds it ends in a fairy tale? I don't have answers yet. All I know is, the story isn't over. And something tells me their happily ever after is going to have a few cracks. I'll keep you posted. Part 3/final update. Okay, Reddit. Strap in. This is going to be long, shocker, messy, double shocker, and possibly the closest thing my life has had to a season finale. If you read my last update, you know I was left with an invitation to my ex-wife's wedding to my brother Jake. Yes, my brother. Yes, my ex-wife. If you're new here, don't worry, the absurdity catches up quickly. Think. Reality show where everyone forgot morality exists. I was genuinely torn about whether to attend. Half of me wanted to boycott the whole circus, the other half thought maybe I should go, just to prove I wasn't broken. My mom was campaigning for healing. My dad grunted something noncommittal, par for the course, and my friends voted overwhelmingly for set the venue on fire. Kidding. Mostly. But the pressure was real. So, after days of pacing around my apartment like a caffeinated squirrel, I decided, screw it. I'd go. Not for them, not even for my family. For me. Because I was tired of feeling like I was running from their choices. If they wanted to play happy couple in front of everyone, fine. I'd be there, front row, looking unshaken. Spoiler, easier said than done. The day of the wedding, I put on the best suit I owned, stood in front of the mirror, and gave myself the pep talk of the century. You are not the victim here. You are the storm. Yes, I actually said that out loud. And yes, it sounded less cool once I heard my neighbor's dog barking through the wall. Still, I walked into that venue with my head held high, determined to at least look like I wasn't about to hyperventilate into a champagne flute. The venue itself was absurdly fancy. Like, did you rob a royal family for this? Fancy. White roses everywhere, string quartet in the corner, the whole 9 yards. And there they were, front and center, my ex and Jake. She looked radiant, of course. He looked smug, of course. Together, they looked like the dictionary definition of audacity. People noticed me. Oh, they definitely noticed me. The whispers started almost instantly. Cousins side-eyeing, friends of friends nudging each other. It was like I'd walked in wearing a neon sign that said, "Hi, remember the plot twist?" Honestly, I didn't care. I took my seat, crossed my arms, and told myself I'd survive the next hour. Then came the vows. Now, if you've never experienced the psychological torture of listening to your brother and ex-wife profess eternal love in front of your family, let me tell you, it's like being forced to watch a rerun of your own car crash, but with added applause. They talked about how they'd found their soulmate, how fate had brought them together, how their love was built on honesty. That last part nearly made me laugh out loud. Honesty. Really? If honesty was involved, I'd have been invited to the betrayal brainstorm sessions. But here's where the universe decided to spice things up. Because when the officiant asked if anyone objected, there was a pause. A long pause. And then a voice. Not mine. Not anyone from my side of the aisle. But hers. One of her bridesmaids stood up, pale as a ghost, and said, "I can't do this." The room went dead silent. Every head turned. And then, like she'd ripped the Band-Aid off, she blurted, "She's been cheating. Again." I swear, the collective gasp sucked half the oxygen out of the room. Jake's face drained of color. My ex looked like she'd just been slapped. And me? I sat there frozen, trying to process the fact that my villains had managed to villain themselves mid-ceremony. Turns out, the bridesmaid had found texts. Lots of them. From some guy my ex had been seeing on the side for months. Months. While planning the wedding. My brother's engagement was literally built on the same kind of rot she'd built ours on. The irony was so sharp I could have cut my steak with it. Chaos erupted. Guests whispering, family members rushing to Jake, the bridesmaid crying, my ex stammering denials. I just sat there, watching. It was like the universe had handed me popcorn and front row seats to karmic justice. For once, I didn't feel like the fool. I felt like the witness. Jake stormed off. My ex chased after him. The officiant awkwardly cleared his throat and suggested we take a break. Half the guests left. The other half lingered like they were waiting for an encore. And me? I slipped out quietly, walked to my car, and laughed. Laughed harder than I had laughed in months. Not because their pain brought me joy, okay, maybe a tiny bit, but because it finally clicked. None of this was about me. Their choices, their lies, their implosion, it was their storm to weather. Not mine. So what happened after? Jake called me a few days later. His voice was shaky, broken. He apologized. For the first time, genuinely. He admitted he'd been blinded, that he thought he was special to her, that he didn't realize she was just who she was. I didn't gloat. I didn't yell. I just told him, "Now you know how it feels." And that was enough. We're not suddenly best friends again, but for the first time, I felt the anger loosen its grip. Closure in its weird, imperfect way. As for her, she tried reaching out. Texts, voicemails, the whole, "Please just hear me out" routine. I didn't answer. Not once. Because there was nothing left to say. She made her choices. I made mine. And my choice was peace. Now, here's the twist I didn't see coming. Out of all this wreckage, I actually started rebuilding. I reconnected with old friends. I picked up painting again. Don't laugh. It's therapeutic. I even started dating someone new. It's early, it's cautious, but it feels real. Honest. Like the opposite of everything I just crawled out of. And maybe that's the point. Sometimes you have to watch the wrong story burn down before you can step into the right one. So yeah, that's where my saga ends. My ex-wife didn't get her fairy tale. My brother got a brutal wake-up call. And me? I got something better than revenge. I got freedom. Turns out, healing doesn't always look like forgiveness or reconciliation. Sometimes it looks like sitting back, sipping your coffee, and realizing you don't care about their mess anymore. Because you're too busy living your own life. Thanks to everyone who read, commented, and cheered me on through this dumpster fire of a journey. Your words kept me sane when I was spiraling, and for that, I'm forever grateful. If my story taught me anything, it's this: betrayal might break you, but it doesn't define you. You get to decide what comes next. And for me, next is brighter. The end.